Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today let's have a first look at the SimWorks Studios Pilatus PC-12. And yes gentlemen, this is a real-world registration that you see on the airplane over there of a real-world PC-12, and SimWorks Studios have actually included that livery in the product, as you can see. Alright, so the PC-12 was a long-awaited airplane, and indeed it is a very, very neat one as well. Before we start with our flight though, a quick overview of what the airplane is about and of what we are going to do with it today. So the SimWorks Studios PC-12 is their most detailed turboprop simulation yet, and it was developed with the help of both Pilatus and an executive airline. So they had lots of input, and most excitingly, the developers were offered a complete week in a real-world PC-12 simulator, and they were taken along on the real airplane for actual flights. So that gave them a lot of experience with the aircraft, something that most developers in the flight simulation industry do absolutely not have when they start working on their product. So that promises a lot. And indeed, SimWorks Studios have released excellent aircraft in the past. Just think back to their Kodiak, which I featured in a review back then and gave it possibly the best review that was possible at the time. So here we are now with their latest release, the PC-12, available for 25 euros on their store and on some third-party resellers like IndyBuild, SimMarket and so on as well. Okay, so with all of that said, now what are we gonna do today? We're currently parking at the Pilatus factory in Bourges in Switzerland, and we're going to take it out for a ride across the local area, and then we're going to come back for a landing over here. Overall, I expect the flight to take something about 35 to 45 minutes-ish, taking it all the way up to its ceiling of flight level 300, and then taking it back into here for a lovely approach in a very, very scenic area. So that's the general idea today. Before we start going inside, let's start with a walk around of the plane on the outside though. And this is basically it. So, got a winglet over there, and you might be wondering why the windows are looking the way they look. Well, basically this is a heat-resistant cover that you've got inside the plane. You can sort of see it over here. I'm sure those of you living in hotter countries are seeing those on cars all the time, and these are included optionally in the airplane over here. So from there, continuing on, we've got all the covers in place at the moment. I'll show you how to remove them in a few moments, but let's just take the moment to appreciate the way the airplane looks. It comes in two versions, one with a 5-bladed propeller and another with a 4-bladed propeller, and both have their own separate sound sets, which is quite cool to be honest. Also, it comes in several different configurations. Right now we've got an executive and we've got a standard passenger version as well as a cargo version, but there will also be a medevac version in the future, which is going to be very interesting. Okay, so with that now said, let's have a very quick look down here at the nose wheel and all the details that went into this. I mean, just look at that taxi light up there. That's really quite incredible. Also look at the detailing on the sides up there and the general modeling inside of the nose wheel bay. So some very good job they've done over here, but with direct input from Pilatus, I didn't expect anything else. Okay then, let's have a very quick look over here on the leading edge of the wing. The wing is obviously de-iced. You can very well see the de-icing boot over there, and that's a weather radar pod up here. Finally, also a quick look at the details of the nav light that we got on the side over here. So looking really good. Also look at the leading edges here and a couple of the scratch markings. Well, this is supposed to be a brand new airplane, so just forget about the scratch markings again. Quick look at the level of details on the wing over here. We can see all the metal together with the screws holding it in place. Alright then, so from here let's move a little bit further to the back and quick look over here at the static port. You can see very nice texturing on that, and very new aircraft over here as well, looking really good. Alright, so that is our lovely registration up there. Quick look into the details on the rudder over there. And then we can move on to the front. So the cargo version of the PC-12 has the cargo door in place over here, and we can actually see it in place right over here, can we? So that is what the aft door looks like. Quick look at the lower side then, main landing gear. This is what it looks like, and this is also our chocks that we've got in place over here, and this is the gear bay over here. Okay, so let's see if we can actually read that sign. And yeah, I know, I'm probably the only one who's ever gonna look this far inside, but look at that. No part number though. Ooh, I seriously hope that doesn't mean they've used fake spare parts on this airplane. Okay, just kidding. So a really good looking model, just like what I would expect in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Also quite cool over here to see the removed before flight dongles moving in the wind. A little bit erratic for my taste, but who knows, maybe they're gonna update those animations in the future. But from the cockpit for sure this is quite nice to see. Okay, cool. So that's a quick look at the exterior. Also down here we've got the landing lights and the recognition lights, and we've got the tie downs that we've got on the sides over here. Alright, very good. So that's a look at the outside of the airplane. Then how about you follow me inside now? So standing right up here, and the first thing I'm going to do is to remove all the covers. So for those we can basically go right back into the cockpit over here, and that's the protection foils that protect the airplane from heat, so let's get rid of them. And then we can also remove our control lock, and removing the control lock is also going to remove all the dongles that we had on the outside, all the covers and the chocks as well, as you can see now looking outside. Alright, so that's a quick tour around the outside of our PC-12, so let's now have a quick look at the inside. So let's start by closing the door. It's a two-step process in the airplane, just like in any SimWorks Studios plane. So first we gotta close it, but then, very important, we actually gotta lock it as well. Alright, now the door is locked, and like that, the airplane is now worthy for pressurized flight. So if you ever encounter problems there, then you now know what to look at. We're going to have a more detailed look at the cabin in a few moments, but rest assured we've got some good models of the passengers over here, and those do change dynamically. So when the airplane's loaded up, when you put weight in the separate stations, then that's how the airplane is being loaded. So this is the executive configuration that we got in here, that we are going to fly today. And as I mentioned earlier, others are available as well, and more are planned for the future. Okay, so let's now move into the cockpit. I'll show you around the cabin and all the tons of animations that we've got in there in a few moments. But for now, let's take a seat on the captain's seat. And first things first, lovely sunshades that we got over here, but I kind of don't like where they are, so let's just get rid of them. That was a bit too far. So you can see, you can, by scrolling on the actual sunshade, you can move it around. And by dragging the red button, you can move it around. So that's that. All the circuit breakers down here, fully modeled, as you can see. And the EFB that you got down here can be attached to the window. However, right now, it only works with a Sky4 Sim third-party payware pad. Something is planned for the future, but as you can see over here, we can turn it on, but not a lot is actually going to happen. So that's what it is right now. So for the purpose of it, can obviously just leave it attached up here at the window. We can just get rid of it again by putting it away. Again, in the cockpit, lots of animation, like you click on the cup holder and you actually get a bottle of water down there, and all the lovely stuff like that. Alright, so this is our PC-12 cockpit. Again, the registration, I just love it, straight in front of you. And again, that's a real-world registration. There are several different options for the setup of the panel. Right now, we've got the TDS GTN 650 on the left, 750 on the right. You can also put the PMS 50 gauges in there, or you can use a standard layout with the working title GNS 430 and 530. That's the different options we've got available for the plane. I opted for the TDS today, as that is kind of my favorite units of them all. Right, overhead panel, very nice and tidy, very easy get an overview of the overhead, so I am pretty surely going to release a tutorial on this airplane at some point in the future where I'll go over all the details. For now, I shall suffice to say that it's nice and tidy, very easy to find your way around. Okay, and likewise, we do have our first officer in the cockpit all the time. And again, down here, loads of animations, even though it does intersect a tiny bit with RFO, but hey, you can't have it all, can you? Okay, so that is our first quick look around the cockpit of the PC-12. And yeah, I do like to play with these kind of things down here. Just bear with me. Okay, so I'm gonna keep them for the FO and gonna get rid of them on my own seat because, well, we do want to have a look at the rest of the panel as we set it up. Okay, so that was the very first tour of how the airplane looks like. So now I suppose we go ahead and start setting it up. So normal checklists are available on the website of SimWorks Studios, or you could just grab them from your download folder of the aircraft as well. They're available in both places. Okay, cool. So that is pretty much our first look around. So let's now start with a pre-flight checklist. As per many general aviation aircraft, this one as well is a read and do checklist. So you read the item, you do it, and that's it. Okay, so with that, I do suppose we just get started getting our airplane set up. So pre-flight checklist: landing gear handle down, circuit breakers. Again, quite important that you actually do check them, not just on your own side, but also on the other side, because as you can see, they do work over here as well. Okay, so circuit breakers are checked, battery switch off, external power switch off. The non-essential override switch is in, I do suppose off or auto, both are gonna work. It says off in the checklist, but I don't really see an off option down there. Okay, standby bus switch on, and that is going to power our airplane basically. Now, at the moment it seems like there might be a small issue with the GTN, because you should get your COM1 powered from that, but it doesn't seem to happen in here. But version 1.0, so actually 1.01, because there has been an update to get the GTNs working just this morning, so just a couple hours after the release. So if you have problems with the GTNs, just download the latest installer from your shop, and then you'll get the update as well. Okay, so external lights and electrical system as required, so I'm just going to turn on the nav light over here. Standby bus switch on, that is on. Battery switch on, and we observe more than 24 volts over here. Non-essential bus switch to override. You can see the load on the system increased a little bit up there, and we got a little bit more systems available now. Okay, external lights, now we're gonna put them all on and then quickly head outside, make sure that they're actually all working. So we've got our record lights, we've got our landing lights, we've got the nose light, we got the beacon light on the very top of the plane over there, and we also got our wing lights up here, and finally going over to the side to have the strobes and the nav light. So all of those things do work, and then we can switch them basically back off again. Okay, so that's that part. Then we continue with a fire switch, and we got the engine fire indication down here. Then let's go to the lamp test, and we observe all the lights illuminated in the cockpit. I do wonder if we should get the audio panel illuminated, the audio control panel illuminated as well. Probably should. I'm not sure about the autopilot panel, but apart from that, we can see that most of the lights do seem to work over here. Okay then, so after that we can test the boost pumps, and now just listen very carefully here to the audio as we play them, because those are quite cool recordings. Very nice spatial audio there. Really like it. Same for ignition. On. And then back into auto. Okay, electronic instrument system test. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure what I'm supposed to test there. There's a test switch down here, but that ain't gonna do much with while the displays are still off. Okay, fuel quantity reset. That's quite an important thing for you to do, because as you can see by default, it doesn't recognize any fuel quantity in there. So you gotta press that reset switch. Now the system needs a little time, and eventually, here we go. Now you got your fuel quantity indication as well. Okay, oxygen pressure gauge, that's down here and checked less than 1850. Okay, and with that we can put our battery switches back off. Okay, then standby bus can also go back off. Basically all the stuff over here goes back off. Okay, so down here, if your switch is on norm, then we got the EPS down here. I do believe that one does take a while before it comes up. Yeah, here we go. Battery test looking good. Back to off. Then cabin pressure switch is guarded on auto. ECS is off. Moving down here, we've got our trim and flap interrupt switches, and they are in normal and guarded. And the alternate stab trim switch is in the middle position. Okay, cool. So, oxygen supply handle on. And now we should test the oxygen masks. Now those are located just in the back over there, but I'm not 100% sure of how to test them, because it doesn't look like there's actually a click spot over there, as you can see. Okay, cool. So that's that. Lavatory, if applicable, check, and then aircraft exterior pre-flight complete. So just a quick check of the lavatory over here. No, this is not a cockpit door. This opens up into your personal lavatory. It's quite a nice system, isn't it? Okay. So it's clean. We got some toilet paper over here. What else can you possibly ask for? And we even got a mirror. And we got a shit vent. Or at least that's how I like to call it. Okay, so let's get rid of that thing again. And how do we close it? Click on the cockpit door. Here you go. Okay, cool. So with that, the lavatory is checked as well. And that's the pre-flight checklist then completed. Okay, so right back in the pilot seat. Now let's go ahead and start up our airplane. Before start checklist. Control lock removed. Again, that would be the red thing just over here. And it is. That's what it looks like, and now it is removed. Okay, parking brake set, wheel chocks removed, fuel cap secure. That's right up there on the wing where you refuel the airplane. Those caps are secure. Because, yes, there are some videos out there on YouTube of aircraft flying around without them. No, it's not good for your fuel usage, and it's certainly not good for the fuel tank simply emptying itself into the air. Okay, so all right electrical switches are all off. Standby bus, if applicable, on. Well, don't really need it, because we don't need our clearance to start up right over here. De-icing switches, we're going to put the inertial separator to open. That's over here. Obviously, we don't see anything without power being applied right now. Okay, then going on. Cooling and heating is all off. So, seatbelt and no smoking signs are, well, honestly, reading through that checklist, I get a feeling it says standby bus if applicable on. I have a feeling we gotta put it on anyway, because otherwise all those push buttons over here aren't really gonna do much. Okay, so let's just do that again. So that's on. De-icing switches, inertial separator open. Interestingly enough, it did take that command while the power was off. Okay, then passenger signs going on. All the rest of the anti-icing system, the cooling system, and the heating system is turned off. Okay, circuit breakers. Just a quick check to make sure nothing popped while we did our system test earlier. And that is all looking good. So circuit breakers are tested. EPS switch is right down here, tested and armed. And look at that, without power the EPS is coming on straight away. Okay, cool. And like that we can turn the EPS back off again. Okay, so friction lock checked, the manual override lever, power lever, and condition lever are all to the back. Now, battery switches coming on. Nav light is on. External power, well, we don't need it today, but if you do need it, you can just put the switch on and it connects as well. But don't need it, we're going to do battery start here. Okay, so fuel quantity and totalizer, that is looking good. Fuel used is reset. Very good. Landing gear lights, 3 green, and the crew awareness system is okay. Alright, cool. So we are ready for engine start, and the engine start actually couldn't be any easier. So, quick look at the side. Got a couple of equipment over here. Unfortunately, can't really get rid of that, so we'll just have to taxi around it. Okay, but nonetheless, the prop area is clear. So, to start the engine, beacon light on, prop area clear, and then we can hit the starter. Okay, looking good. Oil pressure is there. And the rest of our engine instruments looking good. Engine is stable. Okay, after start checklist. Engine instruments checked. Generators are on. By the way, I'm just going to turn it off again. Have a close look at the animation there. How the switch is first pulled out and then moved. That's really well done. Okay, external power off, avionics coming on, standby bus off, cooling and heating as required. Let's turn on the heating over here, because it is pretty cold. Cabin temperatures currently only +3 degrees, so I'm going to turn that on and going to turn the temperature all the way up. Okay, so EPS light is out, EPS switch. Suppose we can just leave it on off. It says auto in the manual. Oh no, sorry, it's the ECS switch. Okay, so environmental control system, auto. And do listen to the sound of the bleed out when it's turned on. I'm just going to put it off again so that you can hear the sound. Off. Now I'll put it back on auto. Nice, isn't it? Okay, and the flaps to 15 degrees. Flap gauges up here, they are rather slow at moving, but I'll just assume that is realistic. Okay, so that's pretty much that stuff, so let's go ahead and quickly set up our avionics. Database is expired, yeah, I'm aware of that, unfortunately. Okay, so departing Bourgs, load procedure, departure.
System test okay.
Thank you. And it's the Wilsau 3 Alpha departure towards Wilsau. Now let's quickly grab our Navigraph charts to have a look at our route of flight. So after Whiskey India Lima, we are going to proceed to Hochwald, Hotel Oscar Charlie. Like that. Thereafter Zurich East. Rolsa. And then Ascot. And from there we return to Bourgs. Then final thing in here. Ascot 1 Foxtrot arrival. And let's just go for the approach. Arnav Alpha approach and load that up. Alright, perfect. So that is our flight plan in. On the 650 we'll just go for the traffic. And transponder can come on as well. Audio control panel listening to both COM1 and COM2. Let's do 1 to 2.8 and 1 to 1.5. So that's all in. Alright. Quick check of procedure then. Wilsau 3 Alpha, procedure limited to pilots operating for Pilatus Aircraft Limited. That's what we're doing. So, straight at Zulu Charlie 601 above flight level 100. That's what we have. Max 230 knots in the turn. That's not going to be a problem. And then we proceed on radial 158 in Monteville, 16.9. And we can just tune that over here as well. Okay, 16.9, and I do believe... Come on. Nav radio, here it is. 16.9. Alright. Cool messages, thank you very much. License to myself, I am happy with that. And the initial climb, flight level 100, so let's just put that in here as well. Alright, cool. So that's that part completed. Now, just a quick look at the airfield of Bourges itself. We're going to depart runway 24. Currently parking down here at the Pilatus factory, and we're going to taxi Delta, Bravo, Charlie, for a full-length runway 24 departure. Alright, cool. So, Squawk, yeah, just take something IFR here. 2567, transponder on, and that's it. Okay, before taxi checklist. Inverter. Where is it? Here it is. And keep it on Gen 1 though. So inverter is switched, then pusher test. That's the stick pusher. And to do that we need to increase our power a little bit. Looking for a torque between 5 and 10. Okay, here we go. So, click the button. And that's the stick pusher working down there. Alright, cool. So, thank you very much. Okay then, avionics set, autopilot trim test. Well, we'll just assume that complete. What we can do is quickly press the go around button over here. That gives us the flight director with the wings level and climb indication. Okay, cabin pressure control is set, so we are going to go all the way up to level 300, so we gotta set that down here. The outer indication that's passing through 6 right now is the target cabin altitude. The one on the bottom down there is the target flight altitude, and that's basically how to set this. So we're going to level 300, so we just set it all the way up. Okay, cool. Transponder and flight ID. Yeah, we can quickly enter that as well. So flight ID is going to be Oscar Hotel Fox Uniform Kilo. Thank you very much. The squawk is in. Altitude pre-selector is set. AHRS 1 and 2 checked. So we are just using our standards down there. Fuel quantity and totalizer checked and reset, looking good. And crew awareness system, yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to get rid of the pusher indication, but just take it the way it is, huh? Okay, and AOA de-ice, yeah. When we put the probes on, that should be gone. Yeah, so that stuff is working. Alright, and since we're taxiing in a snowy area, I'm just gonna put that on already. Same for the propeller de-ice, even though doesn't look like there is much snow on taxiways, but we just want to be sure. Alright, that's the before taxi checklist complete. So, clear left side, clear right side. I do apologize to the guys in front of us in advance. Okay, so, taxi light on, park and brake off, and off we go. A little bit of power to get moving. And here we go. So what's interesting in this airplane is that there is an interlink between the ailerons and the rudder that is dependent on the speed. So whenever I'm moving the rudder down here, you will also see my ailerons move. That's totally normal and expected. Right, that looks pretty tight up here, so let's just make sure that we're actually exactly on that center line. Maybe even a little bit to the right of it, just in order to make sure not to run into that building over here. Let's see. Yeah, not a lot of space. Not a lot of space there. Okay. Clear left side, clear right side. Okay, let's get clear of the factory space. And now comes the very best area for plane spotting at all. As you can see, we're passing a couple of roads up on our way out, and one of them actually, to my knowledge, even is a public road. So, not that one, but the one that's coming up right now. So we better make sure there is no car or anything approaching. The left is clear, the right, well, it's very hard to see, but look at that. That's just neat, isn't it? I totally love it. There's a couple of very nice videos out there on YouTube as well that you can use to have a good look around and see a couple of those PC-12 in action in real world. So, Bourgs is a former military field, so I'm not surprised to see hangars like this over here. More of those on the other side as well. Okay then, and then we're gonna turn over to the left over here into Bravo, where we're gonna head into the area of the Pilatus maintenance facilities, before then making a right-hand turn again, and heading over to the runway for our departure. Must be so cool to fly here in real life. That's such a scenic area. Looks really amazing, doesn't it? Again, crossing a little road over here. Okay, now it's going to be a right-hand turn onto Charlie. So this is the Pilatus maintenance facilities. But we are heading that way. Okay, let's give it a bit of power. It does roll rather fine on idle, but just want to show you how the thing taxis. Because, as you can see, there's quite a bit of the beta range simulated as well. They do actually say on the product page that beta range is simulated, so that's actually what we can see in action here. Like, look at that. My power lever's rather far forward. Now, if I just take it back in idle, you can see there's basically no change in the torque. It's just all going over the beta range. Okay, now we got to make sure that we're exactly on the center line, because these trees are very close to the edge. But look at that, taxiing on the center line, and we just about fit through there. But really just about. I wonder whoever gave permission to plant some trees over there. But well, seeing that we're on the Pilatus corporate side of the field right now, it's probably only going to be the professionals taxiing here and not all the private pilots who can afford an expensive airplane. Those are probably going to be sent via Delta and then just backtrack. Alright. So that's our holding point up here. Brake set. Quick look outside. Every time I am learning a new airplane, when I'm stopping at a holding point, I always just go to the outside and see how far away am I actually stopping here, so that I can develop that mental picture of, okay, here's my hold short line, but like how far of it am I actually. Okay, cool, then we can go ahead with a taxi checklist. So flight controls, forward, aft, left, right, and do observe those rudder pedals moving as the aileron is moved. That is a real world feature of the actual airplane. That is not a silly MSFS assist. Okay, flight instruments check and set, so let's just go down here to the nav button, switch it to GPS 1, and I'm going to synchronize the heading back when we're on the runway, making things easy. Okay, flight director go around, that is what we've got set. Altitude pre-select, set, and armed. Okay, heading back, I'll set on the runway, electric trim set for takeoff, that's what we've got down here on all three of the trim indicators. So, GPWS test, we got that one down here.
GPWS, system OK.
Alright, and the crew briefing complete. Yeah, rotate at 80, climb at 100 and 20 at first, and then later cruise climb is going to be 160. Basically, mostly looking at the deck angle there. Speed for best rated climb is 130 knots, so we'll just see what we're going to use today. Probably 130, I'd say, since we are doing a check flight over here, and not a passenger flight. Alright, and with that the taxi checklist is complete. So final items. Flaps 15, that's what we got down there. Lights as required, so let's put on strobes, record light and landing light. Don't need the wing light. Ice protection. So we've got the propeller, inertial separator and the probes, and I'm also going to put on the windshield heats down there. Right, and what's that? Pusher in ice mode. Yep, that's expected, so minimum speed 105. With that. Okay, cool. Next up, conditionally we're going to flight idle. So, just remember those numbers that you see up here on the engine gauge now, and now I'll pull it up on the flight idle. And look at that. Right, and finally crew awareness system. Okay, well, I'm not sure about that pusher light, pretty sure I shouldn't see that. But I didn't find any way how to get rid of that for now, so, well, I'll just accept it. Right, last thing then, down here is the recognition lights. I'll put in the pulse. It's interesting, you can see it on the ground there with the effect of the lights. It looks like the light bulbs themselves are actually continuously illuminated. But okay, that's that part. So with that, we've got the final items complete, and we can line up. So clear on the approach. Weather does look good, so we should be able to come back for landing later on. And clear on the right side as well. Okay, here we go. So, transponder going on alt. No, that was the off button. Oopsie. Let's just get that back on. Here we go. Okay, transponder on alt. And we'll also get the timer ready. And we've got another clock down here where we can start a timer as well. Then just press the button in the middle to actually start it. Like so. Okay, cool. So, ready for takeoff. And then I'd say we are good to go. For the takeoff, maximum torque is going to be 44.34. Maximum RPM 1700 and maximum NG 104. So 44.34, 1700 RPMs and NG 104. And the maximum ITT 800 degrees. Okay, are you ready? Then I'll keep my foot on the brakes. Slowly advancing my thrust lever, as you can see. But now, even with full brakes, the airplane is moving already. So, brakes off. Okay, torque 44 is good. 80 knots, rotate. Positive climb. tap the brakes, and gear up. Forgot to sync the heading back here, let's just do that now. Okay, speed 130 is looking good. So, flight director, yaw damper, then we can do nav, and we're at 130, so let's also do speed hold. I'll just keep flying manually for a bit, but I want my flight director active to see how that is going to behave. So a little bit of manual flying, a little bit left and right here, see how the airplane behaves. The developers had extensive experience in the simulator, so I do expect it to behave quite well indeed. Okay, so flaps up, above 100 knots. And the manual handling of the plane actually feels quite cool, I have to say. Right, let's see what the autopilot can do of it. AP. Ooh, that was quite an aileron input. Oh, that's interesting. Why is it showing back course? Supposed to be nav, my friend. Did I press the wrong button earlier? Maybe. Certainly not gonna deny it. But look at that. Now in nav it's actually a bit more stable. Okay, so setting maximum continuous torque, that's 36.95. So let's just say 36.8 or something the likes. Having an eye on the ATT, 750 is what the SimWorks Studios guys told me on their Discord what we should observe as target value, even though the maximum is 760. So 750 target, 760 max. And NG not above 104. Okay, cool. So we can continue our climb all the way to cruise level 30,000. And then let's quickly go ahead and read the after takeoff checklist. So landing gear up, that's up, yaw damper on, and the yaw damper is on. Landing and taxi lights off. So landing and taxi going off, flap 0. Those are in 0. Ice protection as required. Well, we're actually well clear of all the icing already, so let's go ahead and switch it all off. So, propeller off, inertial separator close, and now watch your torque as you handle the inertial separator. 36.9 is maximum we are supposed to take, so power back a little bit. Alright, looking good. Cool. So, climb power set, pressurization. Yep, it is pressurizing properly down here. And engine instruments check, after takeoff checklist complete. We also passed the transition altitude already, so let's go standard. And we're passing level 121 now. That's checked. Alright, cool. And with that, we are in the air. So, quick thing on some of the stuff that went a little bit quick on takeoff. In order to synchronize the heading bug, simply click the middle of the heading button down here, and that is going to synchronize it. Then my torque is getting a little higher, 36.9 is what we should have, with an ITT of 750. So there will be a point in the climb where, while maintaining maximum torque, we're going to run into an ITT of 750. When that happens, we'll slowly pull the power back in order to keep the ITT at 750, and that is how we're going to continue the climb. Also, a quick thing down there, right now we only got a couple of HSI modes. So right now we got the GPS mode up here, we can also go into an ARC, but what we don't have yet is a map. That is planned for a future update to get well, standard navigation display map mode there. For now, however, this is what we have. So, personally, I'll prefer just to stay in that one, with a round instrument here. Okay, ITT reaching 750, so now we got to control the ITT with our power lever. And remember, the maximum continuous thrust setting is 760, so 750 is the target, 760 is maximum we can take. Quick look down here again. Aircraft is still pressurizing normally. Let's see that from the outside. That's looking quite cool indeed. Sounds, well, very hard to comment on how accurate those sounds are, obviously, since I've never been next to a PC-12 at 17,000 feet. But I do suppose with the close help they had from Pilatus, they probably recorded all of that stuff from the real plane. Alright, so on the, oh yeah, now my temperatures are getting a bit high. Back to 750. So you really got to keep a close monitoring on this. Really got to keep a close monitoring, like it's continuously increasing once the power is stabilized at least. So you got to constantly adjust your power lever in order to keep the ITT at the target 750. Okay, like now I believe I found a constant setting there, not touching the power lever anymore. 752, 753, so I'm pulling back a tiny bit again. Like that, we gotta get the ITT under control there. Okay, so a few more things that I do want to do down here is get up my VOR displays. VOR 2 is set correctly, VOR 1 is not. Why is that? Vilsau 16.9 should be active. It's just pointing into a different direction. I wonder why that is. Okay, slightly overshot the turn here it seems. The plane is correcting back to the left. Okay. Warning, cabin pressure. Oh yeah, we're approaching the maximum differential. So let's turn the let's slightly accelerate the climb of the cabin, and then we'll go into vertical speed. That's what we got down here, and I'll just set 1,000 feet a minute. Vertical speed engage. What's it doing now? That's a little oscillation here. Going up and down and up and down. Just stabilize at 1,000, please. Okay, we're getting there, slowly but steadily. Those oscillation would obviously be rather not so nice for the passengers. Okay, so now we're about 6 psi cabin differential, but when the cabin is climbing at 1,000 and the airplane is climbing at 1,000, the differential is going to start becoming less in a moment, without the need to interrupt the climb like totally. Okay, so we basically outclimbed our cabin. Now what I was just about to say when the master warning came on there is that right now climbing at 130 knots is obviously a very steep climb. You can see our pitch being in excess of 10 degrees like most of the time there. Now in the real world, what they do when they have passengers on board is to limit their vertical speed to like 1500 or so in order to get the deck angle down low. And by doing that, by getting the deck angle down low, they create some more passenger comfort. Like right now you can see 1,000 feet a minute, we are doing something like 4 degrees of pitch, so that's a little bit nicer for the cabin than our previous setting, maintaining our best rate of climb. So just something to have in mind, a little advice they gave me on the Discord, so thank you very much for that again. Okay, so we'll just continue that climb like this for now, and then in a few moments we'll go ahead and do a couple more system checks. For now, look down at the pressurization system. The differential pressure is slowly reducing, should be outside. Yep, here we go, out of the cabin pressure warning area now. So we might as well increase our rate of climb a bit again. I tell you what, let's do 1500 as they told me on the Discord, which is what you'd normally do with passengers on board. Man, that's a lot of shaking there. Just, come on. Stop that, please. A lot of going up and down. Come on, man. Stabilize, please. Thank you. Alright, so this is like what they would use in passenger operations now. 1500 feet a minute in the climb, and the airspeed somewhere around 150 knots or so. Perfectly fine. Now, what pilots themselves are advising in the pilot's operating handbook of the real plane is that you can do a cruise climb at 160 knots. So that's another possibility of what you can do. And I suppose we're just going to do that. So I'll reduce the rate of climb to 500 feet over here so that we can pick up some speed. Then when we're at 160, I'm going to hit the speed hold mode and then just see what is going to happen out of that. So this is literally just testing out all the different performance things now. Since performance of the plane is supposed to be pretty spot on, within the limits of Microsoft Flight Simulator, but the developers put a lot of effort into it, so it's only fair to test it to the fullest. Okay, we're reaching about 160. And here we are. So, speed hold. Look at that, nice 800 feet a minute in the climb. And at a very good deck angle of like 3 degrees over here as well. Now that can be really comfy for the passengers now. They basically won't even notice when we're leveling off in cruise. Like 3 degrees pitch is standard, for example, in most airliners. Cabin pressure is doing well as well, reached 10,000 feet already. So that's a pretty good climb there. Let's see, we took 14 minutes, and let's say at 16 we're going to be up at flight level 300. And obviously that is with a lot of experimenting there. We could have been up quite a bit quicker if we just continued the climb at 130 knots. And then in the upper levels the climb speed would even reduce a bit, so you can do 115 on the climb, and that is going to provide a pretty good climb as well. But okay, for now, got 700 feet to go. ITT is at 750 once again. Just going to pull out a tiny bit of power. Like so. Just to be sure it doesn't rise much higher. Remember, 760 is the limit for max continuous operation. But if there is something that I did notice while doing that climb, it's that you really need to have a careful eye on your ITT. Okay, capture mode is on. You can see it on PFD as well. Alt capture is the active mode. But again, it's going quite a bit up and down. I do hope that they are going to solve that problem. Okay, we made it all the way up to flight level 300, and we took roughly 15 minutes, something the likes. What if we just go one further? Yeah, we're just gonna stay on here. Okay, cool. And on transponder flight timer is 14 minutes and 20. So yeah, something about that does look quite good to me. Okay then, cruise checklist. Cruise power set. So the cruise power we can find in the product manual right towards the end. There are some cruise performance tables. I'm just going to go for a maximum cruise performance over here. And that does assume ICAO standard conditions. So if we do a quick check, 30,000 times 2 degrees that you're supposed to lose per 1,000 feet of altitude, so that's 60. Minus the 15 degrees that you're supposed to have at sea level, so you end up at minus 45 degrees that we should have. So minus 46 is what we do have. What's that beeping about now? Am I overspeeding anything? Or is that because of the temperatures? Really not sure what's causing this sound right now. And there's nothing down there on the warning panel. Over here everything's looking good. The terrain inhibit button down there certainly is not it. Anything else? Not really, huh? Surely can't be the recognition lights. What else do we have? Well, suppose we can release the passengers. Really not 100% sure what caused that. But it's okay. We'll survive. So let's go back into the manuals. So right now we're at a weight of roughly 8,000 pounds. So actually around about at 9,000. So at flight level 300 we should get an indicated airspeed of about 100 and... wait a moment. We should get a roughly 153 or so. But obviously, that is with a different power setting, so just give me a second. Well, maximum cruise is 36.95 or 760. Nope, that should be fine. So looks like we are actually going a little bit faster than we should. Like, what's our true airspeed right now? Let's have a quick look into the GTN. So utilities, trip planning, use present data. Ground speed 211, I don't care. Let's try that one. Okay, so headwind 67 knots. Yeah, that's fine. So we're doing something like 200. Oh yeah, down there it is. True airspeed 278. That's a little bit fast right now. We should be doing something a little bit less. More in the region of about 250 according to the manual. So we are a little bit fast, it seems. Should be doing 153 indicated versus 250 true airspeed. So yeah, we are going a little bit quick right now. A little bit faster than we should. But alright, let's continue on with the checklist then. So, fuel sufficient and balanced. So it's sufficient for sure. We got fuel for about 3 hours and it's absolutely balanced. Engine instruments checked. Cabin pressure stable and in the green. Yep, it is. And cabin temperature appropriate. So we have 22 degrees right now. I would call that very appropriate. And that's the cruise checklist complete. Alright, cool. So, with that completed, let's, now that we are basically established in a cruise, just go back to the cabin and have a look at some of the features we've got available in the plane over here. So, might just about start with the sunshade that I just so quickly removed earlier today. So, let's just get that all the way back. Here it is. So, sunshade. You can basically rotate it around to your liking, and you can also extend and retract it up here. So that's quite a nice animation. Like that, you can really get your sunshade about everywhere where you might probably need it. Okay, top of descent in a minute. Yeah, we can wait a bit for that. Let's just change those VNAV settings. Okay, it's on 3 degrees already. Now, give me a vertical speed target of 2,000 feet a minute, like that, thank you. So we have 2.5 minutes remaining now to our top of descent. Okay, so let's go to the back of the cabin here and have a little look into some of the stuff we've got over here. So, first of all, pretty much all of those cupboards that you have here can be opened. Like up here we've got our alcoholics. Then down here we've got our standard water and a little bit of juice on the side. And like that you can really find your way around the airplane. Right, that's your shit house. That's the vent to say hello and thank you to all those passengers over there. And obviously we can open and close that as well. Okay, and clicking the cockpit door is going to close that again. I do have a feeling, by the way, that the beep sound we're hearing either is cabin pressure, because it might just about temporarily exceed 10,000, or it might be a warning for exceeding 30,000 feet, which is our airplane's ceiling. Probably either of the two. Okay, so moving further back, we've got our passenger seats up here. We've got all kind of animations, like you can get the table out. Obviously, passengers are looking quite good as well. Then we can control our sunshades as we need. You can see, freely controllable down there. And we can also change around the vent of the air. And obviously we've got reading lights that we can control on the side over here. So with that you can also manage your reading lights and stuff down here. Okay, so that's what we've got in the cabin. And man, this beeping sound is a bit annoying. I mean, when is it coming up? Not quite sure. If you guys know what's causing that beeping sound, then do let me know in the comments below. I do suspect it's got to do with our altitude. Got a little bit of turbulence here, and we're temporarily exceeding 30,000 every now and then. So probably it's just a warning that we're exceeding the maximum altitude. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. Okay, well, so we are approaching our VNAV profile for our descent already, so let's go ahead and get prepared for that. And hopefully, once we start descending, that's also going to solve our problem with the beeping sound. So let's start going down to 15,000. Top of descent now, vertical speed engage. Come on. What's it doing? Vertical speed. Now rotating the outer one. Here we go. 2,000 feet a minute. That's better. Okay, so down we go. Couple feet high now. VS required 2,100. So let's do that. It's still beeping. Why is that? Are we exceeding our maximum airspeed? I mean, what? MMO 0.48. Let's just go in here. Whereabout can we get our Mach number again in the GTN? I know it is available somewhere, but not 100% sure where. It has to be in here, no? Well, not sure. So if that's an overspeed indication indeed, then why is there no Mach indicator? Because we are definitely not exceeding our VMO. If at all, then we are faster than our MMO. But where can I find that sort of information? If at all, it has to be in the GTN somewhere. But I would have expected it here, so... yeah, not sure. But it's annoying, that's for sure. Okay, let's go all the way to idle. Power is down in idle. Let's see what's gonna happen when the speed comes back. So now we're below that. Well, that was annoying, that much is for sure. That was definitely annoying. Especially when it doesn't give you any information about what is that warning actually about. Like, if it was indeed an exceedance of the maximum Mach number of Mach 0.48, then where can we find that info in the airplane? Don't believe it is available anywhere. Like, the GTN should probably have it somewhere, but... a log that we can look at? No. Well, I don't know. I don't know. That's, out of my personal understanding. But we can try that once more. Let's level off at 20,000 and see what kind of info we can get. So, come on. I'm gonna stop the descent in 20,000 feet. Then let's just see if we can push it above the limit again. Let's increase power. Let's see how far we can get it. That was a bit too much power. ITT below 760, please. Speed is increasing. 1,000 to go. I'll just maintain the rate of descent for now. 2,000 feet a minute, please. So let's see. Here it is. It's probably the overspeed warning. I'm just not sure how to find out how to prevent getting into it in the first place. Like, of course you could just do the entire descent at 150 knots, but that can't be it. That can't be a solution for that. Well, anyway, we got to wait and see. So let's continue our descent. Been down for 10,000 and we need 2,000. But come on, why is it constantly shifting around on the display? So 2,000 feet a minute, that's what we're looking for. Also, it might have been wise for me to start the descent of the cabin a little bit earlier, because now, well... So 1,000 and a bit, that's roughly what we're looking for. And with that, our descent checklist is complete as well. So we're in 19,000 feet, doing 2,000 feet a minute. Cabin is in 10,000, doing 1,000 feet a minute. Should be just fine to have the airplane depressurized by the time we get down to the ground. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a quick look into our approach, actually. So, flight plan, we're inbound Rolza, thereafter Asket, and out of Asket we're going to fly the arrival already. So let's quickly go ahead and grab our Navigraph charts. So, Asket 1 Foxtrot arrival, and then we'll fly the RMP Alpha approach. Like that. Okay, so Asket 1 Foxtrot is what we've got in there, and that's from Asket to Ronix, and that's basically what it says over here as well. Max 200 knots at Asket, max 180 knots over Ronix, and above 6,000 feet. Okay, so that much about that. Then next up, let's go down for the approach itself. We've got the RMP Alpha approach, procedure limited to pilots operating for Pilatus Aircraft Limited. That's what we're doing today. And our routing then is from Ronix to Zulu Charlie 700, max 150 knots, Zulu Charlie 701. So we've got Ronix 701. So where's 700? Ronix, insert after, Zulu Charlie 700. Probably not meant to edit those, but if it's incorrect, then what shall we do? Okay, so then 701, Kusix, and from Kusix we proceed to waypoint 760. So Kusix, 4,500, That's what we have in here, that's alright. Then it's going to be 40-degree descent, down to a minimum. And for that, let's see. The MNCTR is... well, probably active, but let's see. So, 2280. If MN2 CTR is active, a missile approach climb grading minimum 5.4% up to 2400. Well, let's just take that. So 2280 is going to be our minimums. So we can set that bug up here. Quite useful. And that's 805-foot radio for the radio minimums. Now you can set the radio minimum down there on the DH knob. And you can see it in the bottom of the altimeter over there. But I tell you honestly, we're flying this based on barometric altitude anyway, so this one will have to do 2280 for the approach. Okay, descending a bit further. And then let's quickly change over to QNH as well. So weather, right now it's few clouds, 1100 feet, 3 degrees, 1018. Okay, set QNH 1018. Set once. And set twice. And 3 times. Okay, 1018 cross check passing 12,400. Sorry, 12,300. Now. Looking good. Alright, cool. So, once we are at waypoint 760, that is where we got to start the visual approach towards runway 24. And for that one, we've actually got a chart as well, which we can find over here. So, basically we keep over the water until we can turn final. And that's it. That's as easy as it gets. So once 5.2 miles to waypoint 760, we're going to leave 4,500 on a 4-degree glide. And that is going to be a vertical speed of approximately 1,000 feet a minute, as you can see down here on the chart. And that's what we aim to fly. Alright, cool. So, with that done, let's get rid of the Navigraph chart once more. We're now in Mount Ascot, and from Ascot we join the arrival. So 6,000 is our next altitude constraint. And with that, we are pretty much done. Okay, so we don't need those anymore. Let's get rid of the sunshade. Thank you. So, passing 10,000, I am going to switch the recognition lights on. So those are the ones we got over here. Again, interesting to see that the effect is working, but the lights themselves seem to be illuminated all the time. But we might just start slowing down a little bit already, because we got the speed restriction on our star coming up next. Over Onyx, max 180 knots. Okay, so back to the VNAV page. VS required is now 1,200, so let's slow the descent a bit. 1,200. 1,100 even. Looking good. What's the cabin altitude doing? Coming down nicely. Let's reduce the cabin rate a little bit. 500 should do. Very nice. Okay, a couple of clouds over here. I do believe the approach is basically going over there in a few moments. So a couple of clouds, but overall looking really nice, as Microsoft Flight Simulator always does. What else, huh? What else am I supposed to say? No, it does look really good. Okay then, in the turn, next we can descend to 4,500. like so. Okay, let's get our speed down. Okay, 180 knots. Yeah, 5 knots more. Doesn't really matter, does it? Okay, left side is looking really nice. Well, MSFS. Okay then, turning to the right. Can reduce that rate of descent a little bit further. 180 knots, looking good. Then we can start reducing towards 150 now. Really nice to see, by the way, how the route that we're flying just leads us in between all of those cities, but not right over them. You can see what kind of thought went into the procedure design when they worked on this, huh? Can really see it. Great looking airplane. Loads of fun to fly, that's for sure. Okay, so 170 knots, I'll just let it slowly bleed off with a target of 150. So that looks like the clouds aren't too thick over here, so we should be able to break them in a few moments for the visual approach into Bourges. And again, if we can't break the clouds, then we are going to divert to Bern. But I think we should be able to. Right, about to enter some icing again, so propeller anti-ice on, inertial separator can come on already as well. And I'm going to turn on the boots on a 3-minute cycle. Seatbelts on as well, and like that we should be good to go. Okay, approach checklist. Recog lights on, nav radius set and identified. We don't need any altimeters. 1018 maintaining 4,500 set. Pressurization is set. Inertial separator is open. Crew and approach briefing complete. Approach checklist completed. Okay, so that's looking good. Then we've overflown Kusix already, so let's go ahead and start our final descent. Okay, vertical speed engage. You can give me 1,000 feet a... What's it doing now? Set 1,000 feet a minute. It can actually give me a little bit more because we started the descent rather late. Okay, looking for a minimums 2,300 we'll set up here. Okay, we're visual already. So with that, the part of the instrument approach is completed and we'll take over visually. So let's go heading mode. Sun is right in the front over there. Well, that's what we got our sunshade for. Okay, so this is basically where we're going to fly over, so we'll brake to the left in a moment. So, autopilot yaw damper off, flight director going off, missed approach, doesn't matter. And here we go. Beautiful. So beautiful.
Obstacle ahead.
Yeah, thank you, we're aware of that. Okay then, right down to the minimums over here. There is a little advice in the manual that when you lower the gear and extend flaps 15 at the same time, you shouldn't feel as much of a pitching moment. Let's see how correct that is. Gear down, flaps 15. I'm not touching anything. Yeah, nose is coming down a tiny bit. But overall, it's feeling quite good indeed. Okay, flaps 30. And that's going to be our final landing setting today. So, going to start our final descent now. And then we should be able to see our runway come up just behind that mountain over here when we've completed the turn. So landing light, taxi light, 100 knots looking good.
Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead.
Yeah,
Pull
inhibit
up.
the toss, please. Thank you. Alright, and that's our runway. So let's bring the power back a little bit more. Get rid of that sunshade. And here we go. So, as you can see, you do need quite a pitch down moment on the final approach.
500.
Checked, in order to get your airplane down. But that's realistic, that's as the real one should be. We've got a long runway today, 2 kilometers, so I've chosen flaps 30 for the landing. We just gotta make sure that in the flare we do pull up far enough that we don't touch down on the nose wheel, as touchdown should be on the main wheels first. Okay, let's go idle. And look at that, you can straight away see how the airplane is dropping down. That's exactly what it should feel like when you go idle. Okay, so... two landings for the price of one. Now we'll just let it roll. Wow, that's a lot of drifting here. Okay, I'll apply some brakes in order to reduce that. Okay. Man, that was a lot of drifting left and right. I mean, the runway doesn't look slippery, but it absolutely was. Man. Okay, so here we are, vacating onto Delta. And here we go. Okay, so I'll vacate completely, then stop the airplane when we clear the runway, like so. Or are we clear? Yes, we are. Very good. Okay, cool. So, park and brake set. 46 minutes of flight time.
Warning, tree.
Yeah, come on. That's alright. Not sure why it gave us that warning. Okay, so after landing checklist. condition lever into ground idle. Flaps 0. Exterior lights as required, so let's do landings off, strobes off. And we can put the record lights in a continuous norm position. Actually, we don't need them here at all. Okay, ice protection off, so that's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna keep the inertial separator open here. Okay, radar, standby. That's where it is. It's currently inoperative anyway. Okay, and trim set for takeoff. Well, interestingly enough, I can't control the trim anymore. I can't control the trim at all anymore. Not sure if that's by design or not, but I do suppose since the after landing checklist tells me set the trim for a takeoff, I should still be able to. But, well, that's a question I'll put into the developers Discord and see what they're going to say about that. Alright, cool. So, after landing checklist is complete. And let's taxi back to the factory, and then we'll talk about whether they can take their plane back straight away, or if this is a complete success. So, Pilatus factory to the left-hand side. So that's where we're gonna take this. Well, that much I can already tell you in advance. It was a lot of fun. So let's see if the lot of fun is going to keep up for the entire feedback for the airplane. What I can already tell you is that the PC-12 is modeled after a late version 47. So if you intend to buy this and if you want to get a little bit more information about the plane than the manual actually gives you, then Pilatus got the real-world pilot's operating handbook of the airplane available on their website. So in there, look for the MSNs 400 through 800, and if you download that manual, then you're basically going to get the one that's applicable to this airplane and the current real-world manual that is applicable to this airplane. A lot of very good information there, so be sure to have a look at that if you intend to get the SimWorks Studios PC-12. Alright, so we are going to park it straight on the main apron over here. Let's take that second parking spot. Just going to move my view up a bit so that we can actually see everything. And over we go. Let's see how well I can park this on my very first attempt of ever doing so. Here we go. That's looking good. And stop. Okay, parking brake set, shutdown checklist. So, ECS off. Off. Taxi light off. Off. Transponder VFR. That's what we have, and at the same time we'll just put it on standby as well. Cooling and heating off. Avionics off.
Warning, avionics bus.
Yes, fully intentional, my friend. Okay, generator off.
Warning, essential bus, generator 2.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Okay, then let's go on. ITT stable. Yes, it is. And it has to be stable for 2 minutes, and honestly, this was 2 minutes already. Okay, condition lever cut off. Let's see if we can actually reach it. Yeah, gotta go over here. Come on. Here we go. Condition lever cut off. Okay, gotta wait until the engine has stopped spinning, then we can turn off the beacon. So just gotta give it a little moment here, and there we go. Okay, beacon off. EPS switch off. Okay, that was off already. Suppose it should have stayed armed on the flight. Does make sense for, I believe it is emergency power. Okay, so EPS is off. Control wheel lock install. Here we go. And then battery switch off. and that's the shutdown checklist complete, unless it was the last flight of the day. Now, I can tell you that much, it is not going to be the last flight of the day. I totally love it. It's so much fun to fly the PC-12. Now, let's talk about my feedback of the SimWorks Studios PC-12 then, of my first flight. So, first of all, starting with the graphics, the plane looks superb, and the only thing I can find there, remember I'm German, I gotta complain about something, so the only thing I can find on the graphics is that the animations on the remove before flight dongles look a little erratic, so maybe that's something they can work on, but apart from that, superb looking model and loads of cool animations as well, both inside and out. So in terms of the model, it's definitely a success. Then the sounds, well, to be fair, I've never flown a PC-12, so I can't really comment on how good the sounds are, but what I can say is little things like when you switch the ECS on, then you slowly get that air conditioning sound running up. Superb. And even though I don't have experience with a real-world PC-12, the sounds really convinced me. Systems then. Well, the autopilot's been wobbling a little bit up and down. That's something that hopefully they are going to improve in the future. But apart from that, the systems did look quite nice on my first flight. Again, I wasn't 100% sure of how to clear that caution on the stick pusher, but I'm sure that there will be many comments below this video telling me how to do it and telling me that it was my mistake. So apart from that, systems were convincing, and I'd say they did what they were supposed to do. Well, so would I recommend getting the SimWorks Studios PC-12 then? Absolutely. It comes at a very fair price point there of 25 euros, so the price is absolutely appropriate for what we're getting. I would even say that you could sell it at a couple bucks more. Now, talking about a couple bucks more, that's probably something that is worth pointing out here. In the manual, there's a little statement there saying that they do plan to release an expansion package with some simulated failure at a small price at a later point in time. So that's going to be like 5 euros or so in order to get that expansion package. And it is going to add failures to the airplane, because right now it doesn't simulate any. But that's certainly something that does seem like I am absolutely going to get it, and you should probably think about it as well. Alright, so my absolute recommendation to get it, you can grab it for 25 euros on the SimWorks Studios website, or you can grab it at IndieBuild, Sim Market, or wherever it is currently being published. To my knowledge, it's not on the marketplace at the point of this time, but I'm pretty sure it's going to come in the future as well. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, then. I do hope that you found an airplane over here that's going to be interesting for you as well. If you did, do let me know in the comments below. Now, I'm looking forward to see your take on it, and in the meantime, enjoy your day, whatever aircraft you're flying. If you're flying a PC-12, great. It is a really enjoyable airplane. I see you all again on the next one. In the meantime, be sure to leave a like if you did like the video, as it does help with YouTube algorithms. Be sure to hit subscribe if you're up for more. And finally, if you are really in love with what I'm doing, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link that you can find in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and see you all again on the next one.